Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Marcus Hayes and today I'm going to give you a bit of an update on the 6-style dash from my Mk1 Escort project. What you're about to see was supposed to form part of my next video, which you'll be able to see in just a few days, where I test the electrics in the Mk1. But it was getting a bit too long, so I decided to bring it out in two separate videos. Those of you who have been watching my videos will know that the 6-style dash has been here at home for quite a while I do a couple of modifications, mainly to fit the aftermarket fuel gauge. So here is my 6-style dash clocks from the Mk1, or the back bit of it anyway. I think last time I showed you this, I explained that I needed to shave out some of the bottom of this casing because I thought that I needed to sit the gauge quite low in the casing. As it happened, once I'd bored out this black bit here so that you can see the gauge properly, I realised that the gauge needed to be a little bit higher than I was expecting, so I should have done that first really. So what I had to do was just use a bit of fiberglass and fill the hole back in that I'd made. I just gave it a spray with white spray can. So yeah, got the gauge fitted in there now. Just had to drill a hole and it's mounted with a nut. I had to drill 2 extra holes for the connectors for the gauge. Now these are the original connectors for the fuel gauge. As I explained before, one of them did break and I made my own one which started off like this. It's just a crimp connector, and basically I ended up making this. I've made another one now. I'm not going to use the original one that isn't broken. I'm going to use these ones that I've made. Like I say, I need to file them down so that they actually fit in the holes, and then I'm probably going to use maybe blue tack or electrical tape or something just to make sure that this is insulated from the backing part of the casing. But as I say, the gauge is all in there now. So one other thing I've done is I've changed the original bulbs for LEDs. Now these LEDs are actually blue, so it meant that I needed to remove all these blue screens, I suppose you'd call them, I don't know. But basically the original bulbs are obviously normal white bulbs, and then with the bulb going through this, it then gives you the sort of bluey green original colour that is in these clocks. But yeah, these are blue LEDs, so it should be a lot brighter, nice blue backing light for all the clocks. I do need to replace one of the bulb holders for the backlight. The only ones I'm able to find on eBay have 2 wires, whereas this one earths out on the casing with this little metal tab. But the only ones I can find have got 2 wires, so I'll probably have to take one of those wires and just screw it to the back case so that it earths. But that's not a massive deal. So as I showed you, this was bored out so that you can see the clock better. And now I'll show you the front part of the clocks. So as you can see, I've repainted this middle bit blue and the rest of it in satin black. Now this was an absolute nightmare. I basically sanded the whole thing back down to bare plastic primered it, then I etch primered it, and then I masked it out so that I could just paint this middle section blue. Now the only thing you're going to be able to see that is blue is the rings. Now I've used 2-pack spray cans on this because it gives what I think is a better finish. However, those 2-pack spray cans, for some reason, the paint just never dries properly. I mean, I tried using a hairdryer to dry it and leaving it on the radiator, and I left it a good couple of weeks before I tried masking it up so that I can do the black bits, which have been done in cellulose paint. Now when I started masking it up, I noticed that basically the paint was still soft and it was leaving a mark where I was pressing on it to put the masking tape on. So I aborted that, left it for another couple of weeks, and then masked it up. A couple of times I've had to sort of wet and dry to get rid of the marks that have been created because the paint was too soft. So the paint didn't seem too soft when I tried to mask it up the second time, so I masked it up, done the rest of it black. Then when I pulled the masking off, I noticed that basically some sort of reaction had happened, probably just from the fumes of the cellulose paint getting in behind the masking or whatever. But basically it was all fucked. You know what I mean? It was all like rough bits and that. So I've wet and dried it all back again, and I haven't broken through. I've given it a little hand polish on the rings to try and bring it up and make it shiny, but I'm going to have a go with a polishing wheel on the drill carefully, because I obviously don't want to break through. In fact, the blue section I painted twice, originally because I got runs in it. Then I tried to wet and dry the runs back, and then I broke through, and then I painted it again, and then I had the issues that I just explained with reacting and stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to save it this time. I probably shouldn't have bothered trying to rub down the runs that I got in the first place, to be honest, because when it's in the car, literally all you're going to see is the rings. You probably wouldn't have noticed the runs, so I was probably being a bit too fussy, but yeah, it has been a bit of a nightmare. You know, I've probably spent, I don't know, 20 or 30 hours in total on these clocks while they've been at home, just doing half an hour here and there. Hopefully they'll look sweet once they're in the car. Now, as I say, I only want the blue showing on the rings, and I basically bought this plate from Yuck Speed, and I'll leave a link in the description to their website. This was a 3-part kit, so I've got the bit that goes along the rest of the dash all the way to the passenger side, and it's also got a bit that goes round the switches on the switch panel. I haven't got the original switch panel fitted, so I won't be needing that third piece, so I'll just be using the 2 pieces. Now, to be honest, when I got this, it wasn't a perfect fit. Now I need this to slip on there without obviously rubbing against the paint that's on the rings, so I've had to enlarge all of these holes a little bit. And also I've gone around the edge as well, just to make it slip in there and not sit on that little border bit. At first I tried to do it with sandpaper, and then I tried using a file, because I didn't want to risk scratching the face of this. This is supposed to be a brushed finish, but in the end I realised it needed so much material taken off of it, it would have just took hours and hours and hours and hours. So I decided to use a flat wheel on a drill, and inevitably I've got a few scratches in it. So I need to somehow get the brushed finish back onto this. And to be honest, I'm going to enlarge these a little bit more, just so they definitely slip over without damaging the paint. I can put it on there carefully just to show you roughly what it's going to look. Yeah, so it looks something like that. But as I say, hopefully the blue bits will be a bit more shiny, and the stainless steel bit will be a nice brush finish. I'll just put it all together so you can see it with the clocks actually showing through. So yeah, you can see what I'm trying to achieve. Should look pretty good when it's in the car. A lot more hassle than it was worth, and I nearly gave up and just done the rings black, but I'm glad I persevered. So one thing I didn't mention is you'll notice that the fuel gauge hasn't got the pointer fitted at the moment. Now, this aftermarket fuel gauge came with a red pointer, whereas all the rest are white. So at the moment I've taken it off and I'm going to be painting it white. That's why it's not fitted. I'm going to screw the dash clocks back together now with the glass and all that, so that it's ready to take with me to the garage. Bollocks. The glass broke. That was actually a piece I had made up in a glass shop because the original one broke. I'll just have to make another template and get another bit of glass cut. So that is the 6-style dash for the Mark 1. It's taken loads more work than I expected to get it to look the way it does. And since I recorded that clip, I've realised that I'm going to have to spend a little bit more time on it. But I'll go into that in a future video. Do let me know how you think it looks. I'm sure the anoraks are going to go mad and say the rings should be chrome, but I think it should look alright when it's fitted to the car. I'm going to end this video here, but please do give it a thumbs up and a share if you enjoyed it. If you thought it was shit, give it a thumbs down. Click subscribe and activate the notification bell to be kept right up to date with any other videos that I post in the future. Make sure you check out my Facebook and my Instagram, and I'll leave the links you need for that in the description of this video. Until next time, thanks for watching.